Anyway, all joy. But if you speak Chinese so well and you want to pronounce my name, you don't write it on paper. You record it on your radio, on your phone, or any means. You call it this way. Chinese logo, it means Pastor Chinko. Now my name, maybe your name, Igara saying, Aloore Radio. Keep listening to them.
SafeMusicList.com. Royalty-free music for marketing and promotional videos.
Good morning, and thank God it's another Friday on Aloore Radio at the GSM Studio, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. Welcome to Newspaper Review this morning. I am Taiwo Olaniyan.
And my name is Olukemi Omotosho. Good morning.
And you can also join us on our Facebook page to watch us live if you are listening to us at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio, or you can log on to our website at www.alooreradio.com for more information. And this morning we have a couple of the Nigerian dailies with us, the Nigerian Tribune and the Punch newspaper. And a lead story from the Punch newspaper says that Buhari leaves for UK checkup as doctors in Nigeria threaten fresh strike, and it has a couple of riders as well. President going for medical follow-up and to return by July. President beats 21-day requirement and avoids to hand over to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
I have with me on the first front page of the Nigerian Tribune, Nigeria is poor. Only option is to borrow Senate President. And I have a rider, federal government state owns 33.11 trillion naira external domestic debt, NBS.
The National Association of Residents Doctors laments accumulated salaries and says that the federal government fails to fulfill its promise. The details of that story will come up later after the headlines.
I also have Buhari returns to London for medical checkup.
They are saying the president should get well soon. As the Afenifere Ohanaeze, the PANDEF insists on restructuring ahead talks with the ACF.
And there's this advice. They say ban government officials who violate press freedom, electoral reform, stakeholders charge UK, US, Canada.
Kwara billionaire's 28-year-old son and grandson, 28-year-old grandson dies as residents suspect the victim attempted suicide that claimed his life.
And I have Rev Solomon Amechi, NPA, over 166.68 billion naira unremitted revenue.
Amotekun consult residents as robbers rights Oshin community demanding for a sum of 20 million naira. The details of that story is on page 9 of the Punch newspaper.
And this is another security report. It says, I want to be more popular than Oyenusi, Anini, Rambo. Ondo robbery suspect says. Page 35 of the Nigerian Tribune.
What a goal. What a goal. NBC amendment bills against constitution attempts to criminalize freedom of expression. This is coming from Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria.
And on education, we have 13.5 million children can't access quality education in Nigeria.
Senate President backs federal government's borrowing spree and opposes the new taxes. The details of that story is on page 9.
We are not after northerners, but terrorists, IBOB tells Gumi. That will be found on page 37 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And also, As the president leaves for UK checkup today, the doctors, once again, the National Association of Resident Doctors, are saying that Nigeria is a failed state for not paying their salaries.
And on the social note, I have alleged rape. Court grants Baba Ijesha 2 million bail. Found that on page 35 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And court hears suits challenging article citizenship on the 27th of September. The rest of that story is on page 8.
And on page 37, I have court slates July 21 to air suit seeking Buhari's sack from office.
The father of the released NSAS detainee son wants privacy. This is coming from Ondo State, and the rest of that story is on page 8.
Kogi governor moves to stop grants to former governor Idris others. That is found on page 33 of Nigerian Tribune.
We are investing $1 billion on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and other 2 major road projects as they put Nigeria's infrastructure deficit at 15 trillion naira. This is coming from the federal government of Nigeria.
And with that, we'll go on a short break to come back for the news in details.
Congratulations to the people of Oyo State. It's been 2 years of restoration, transformation, and rejuvenation since the advent of Engineer Seyi Makinde as the governor of Oyo State. The pace of the state is maintaining its stance on administration leading in economic restructuring, agricultural reposition, vibrancy in youth and sport, outstanding educational facilities, good roads, job opportunities, security, and many more. This is the people's governor, a hope for better tomorrow. Ride on our governor. Katsi, Aloore Radio, GSM Studio, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan.
àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀.
ẹ ǹlẹ́ bàbá àdìo ẹ wo aṣọ ọ̀gbẹ́yẹlé nìkan mọ́ nísìn ẹlẹ́yẹlé gan-an làṣà ń gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ojú òní ìmọ̀ wa rí yín fún. ṣé ẹ rí i nígbà tí ìjọba kọ̀ tí ó sọ̀rọ̀ láwọn ọ̀dọ́ ti ṣaṣara bàgbó pé kí gbogbo àwọn oníṣẹ́ bí ó kù lágbègbè wa ni wọ́n bá níjọba sọ pé kámúrí wá ká fọrùn lẹ̀.
tá ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àdìo ìwọ náà sì tún pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ jáwúra mi bí wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tíjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ń sọ ni pé a lè fi nǹkan tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ṣàtúnṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa ó dáa àdìo láti gbẹ̀ tí wàá déhùn ṣé eégún kan ti wá yọrẹ sí babaláwo yín bí.
rárá o bàbá.
ní nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé kẹ́yìn ọ̀dọ́ tó fọn níjọba ti yàwó tùlù fún ẹ̀ṣọ́ aláàbò àmọ̀tẹ́kùn pé kí wọ́n fi tọ̀gbẹ́ tààlà láti lé gbogbo àwọn ẹni ibi jáde ní kọ̀lọ̀fín wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣètò ọlọ́pàá scrodom ibi fáàbò gbogbo wa nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ náà ni ṣèjọba tó wá ṣèyún ní òwà rẹ̀ nìràn lẹ́rù ni ó tún mọ́ ọkọ̀ fẹ́ bí.
ọ̀rọ̀ yín yé mi bàbá àmọ́ ọ̀tọ̀ ní táwọn èèyàn mọ̀ ń wíìkì.
àwọn ará bíi ti tòṣèlú bọ̀ ọ́nù nígbà àtàkùté wọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta òde ó rí wọn lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára táwọn ti ròyìn òfegè ní ibi láti sọ̀jọba gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ní súná bú ni.
bàbá kí là á wàá ṣe ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pọ́rọ̀ ọ̀sọ́kùsọ bíi náà nú ẹ̀rùn ni.
ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ tẹ́ ẹ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ dénú náà ni kẹ́ ẹ sọ fún gbogbo òlù pé orí ìpinnu àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé níjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ dúró lé.
ó ti yé mi bàbá mo sì ń lọ rèé fọn rere rẹ̀ náà nù. iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.
Welcome back. You're still live at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism at the GSM studio, Aloore Radio from Ibadan to the world. And this is newspaper review and the news in details. Don't forget you can also watch us or listen to us via our mobile application at www.alooreradio.com. And here is the news in details. The President Major General Muhammadu Buhari retired will on Friday proceed to London for a scheduled medical follow-up. His special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, disclosed this in a statement titled President Muhammadu Buhari off to London for medical checkup. Buhari leaves for London at a time of looming threats of industrial action from the National Association of Resident Doctors. And if the president had stayed in London for more than 3 weeks during his March trip, it would have been mandatory for him to hand over to the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, as the Constitution demanded at that time. And at the time he was leaving in March, the National Association of Resident Doctors declared its intention to commence a strike on the 1st of April and carried out its threat as resident doctors refused to work for over 2 weeks And again, this time, the National Association of Resident Doctors said it observed that the salary arrears of January, February, and March of its members, particularly in the University of Port Harcourt, Teaching Hospital, University of Calabar, University College Ibadan, had been paid, but was deeply worried about the reaccumulation of unpaid salaries in coming months if these members are not captured in the integrated payroll and personal information system. And I guess that the National Association of Resident Doctors are coming up with looming strike because the president is traveling and the president cannot do the signature for them to enter into the payroll. So that is why they are calling on the federal government to give them what they want, to sign the unpaid salaries from the past months from April to date. And the rest of that story is on page 7.
And on page 33 of the Nigerian Tribune, I have on infrastructure. Nigeria is poor. Only option is to borrow. Senate President. The Senate President, Ahmad Lawan, was at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, to inform President Muhammadu Buhari of the activities lined up by the National Assembly, as he said after the meeting that Nigeria is a poor nation that has no option but to borrow to fund infrastructure. Fielding questions from correspondents after the meeting, he however assured that the legislature would not be frivolous in granting requests of loans by the executives. According to him, such requests will be subjected to scrutiny to be sure that they are necessary, and when approved, the use of the loan will be monitored through oversight. For the rest of that story, check page 33 of the Nigerian Tribune. And from the same page, I have FG State owes 33.11 trillion naira in external and domestic debt, NBS. Federal and state governments are owing 33.11 trillion naira in public debts as of March 31st, according to latest figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, on Thursday. According to the news agency of Nigeria, the NBS, who stated this in its Nigerian domestic and foreign debts for quarter 1 2021, added that upon disaggregation, the national total public debt indicated that 12.47 trillion naira, or 37.67% of the debt was external, while 20.64 trillion, or 62.33% of the debt was domestic. For the rest of that story, check page 33 of the Nigerian Tribune. Federal government states holds 33.11 trillion naira in external domestic debt, NBS.
Alright, and a twin of that story that the president of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, has defended Nigerians' borrowing spree, arguing that the federal government cannot tax Nigerians any further to fund infrastructure. Lawan said that Nigerian was currently poor and had no other option but to borrow to finance its infrastructure. The rest of that story, for more details, you can visit the Punch newspaper on page 9. And also the indigenous people of Biafra have said it is not after the Northerners but after the terrorists. The media and publicity secretary of the secessionist group, Ima Powerful, said this statement on Thursday in a statement made available to the news correspondent that the group, who was responding to Abubakar Gumi's recent comments on IPOB as haters and killers of Northerners, described the clerics' comments as fallacious and mischievous. And the group's statements read that the attention of the indigenous people of Biafra has been drawn to the latest ranting and ridiculous claim by the terrorist apologist Sheikh Abubakar Gumi that IPOB and Eastern Security Network were killing Northerners, which is false, that they are not after the Northerners, but they are after the killers and those who are terrorizing the peace and security we already have in the country.
I have this. It says residents panic over gas leakage in Lagos community. Panicking residents of Ijegun Egba, satellite town in Lagos, have raised the alarm over smell of gas in their community. This is contained in an emergency message sent to inform the Lagos State Fire Service of the development in their community. Residents claimed The leakage was coming from a petroleum depot at the Ijegun Egba gas farm. The message reads, "The Lagos State Fire Service is hereby notified that there is huge smell of gas in the community coming from a depot name withheld in Ijegun Egba gas farm." For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 34 of the Nigerian Tribune. Residents panic over gas leakage in Lagos community.
And we cannot blame them for panicking. It's a good one to call for the security of others.
Because fire can come at any time.
Two major socio-political groups in the North Central, the Middle Belt Forum and the Southern Kaduna People's Union, has disassociated themselves from the Pan-Northern Association, the Arewa Consultative Forum. The ACF has its National Executive Council meeting, and the spokesperson, while speaking with our correspondent, said that they are waiting for the agenda they have, and they will respond appropriately when the agenda is made known to them. And also, according to them, that the ACF was pursuing the agenda of the Hausa Fulani group, but the Afenifere, the Ohanize, the Pandef insist on restructuring ahead the talks with the ACF. As they say, the National Publicity Secretary of Pandef, Ken Robinson, said this to the news reporters, that the fundamental issue is restructuring. It is the structure of the country that has given birth to all other issues primarily, and even the economic issues and the security issues inclusive. And people are aggrieved because of the uneven distribution of oil resources, particular for those in the South, and that we produce from 80 to 85% of the resources, and they get less than 20% as the reward. And for some other part of the country, the issues of killer herdsmen and all of that are ravaging the community, and that restructuring is a holistic one and not just about derivation. It is not about devolution, it is about electoral reform. This is coming from Afenifere or Ohanize, the Pandef, as they all insist on restructuring ahead the meeting with the ACF group.
And I have this. I wanted to be more popular than Oyenusi, Anini, Rambo, Ondo robbery suspect. A suspected armed robber, Gbenga Kikiowo, who was arrested recently by men of the Ondo State Police Command, has said he ventured into robbery to become the most notorious armed robber in the country and surpass the feats of Ishola Oyenusi, Lawrence Anini, and Shino Rambo, all of who were notorious robber kingpins in their days. The 27-year-old Kikiowo, who was arrested with two other suspects in Akure, said he had been remanded 3 times, while he had also traveled to Ghana to participate in several robbery operations. And also from that page, I have pregnant woman, 2 men dies in Lagos Ibadan Express accident. A pregnant woman and 2 other men have been confirmed dead in a multiple accident that occurred on the Danko axis of the Lagos Ibadan Expressway on Thursday. Spokesperson of the Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps, Trace, Mr. Babatunde Akinbiyi, confirmed the incident to News Agency of Nigeria in Abeokuta. Akinbiyi explained that the accident occurred at about 4:30 a.m. on Thursday. That is a sad one, coming from page 35 of the Nigerian Tribune. Pregnant woman, 2 men die in Lagos Ibadan Expressway accident.
So sad. May they rest in peace. And also on page 9 of the Punch newspaper, the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, has promised the leadership of Ijaw National Congress that he would inaugurate the board of Niger Delta Development Commission as soon as he receives and accepts the commission's forensic audit. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, disclosed this in a statement titled Nigeria's Unity. President Buhari commends Ijaw leaders and pledges action on environmental degradation. And also on page 8 of the Punch newspaper, the counsel for Kemisola Oguniyi, who delivered the baby in prison custody, Mr. Tokwe Temokun, has said it is not compulsory for the public to know the identity of the child's father. Oguniyi was remanded in the Nigerian Correctional Service, Ondo, for alleged involvement in the vandalization of property belonging to the state chapter of the All Progressive Congress during the October 2020 enters protest in Akure. The baby she gave birth to in prison was questioned on Wednesday after she was granted bail by the state high courts. The wife of the Oni of Ife, Olori Naomi Ogunwusi, was at the christening of the baby and she presented the family with various baby items and foodstuff, while also there were other people who also presented the child with gifts and scholarship from nursery to the secondary school level. But the father said that the constitution grants the right to privacy, family and all that. If somebody decides to cover his face with a mask, provided he is not with a shooting gun, you don't have the right to force the person to open. So we should leave it like that, as we are not ready to disclose the identity of the baby's father. That story is on page 8 of the Punch newspaper.
That is freedom of
life, privacy, everything together. I tell you what you want to know about me, not that you know everything you just want to know about me.
There should be privacy. I have this, it says, stop twisting facts. We are not after northerners, but terrorists. IBOB tells Gumi. I believe you've read that the other time. It says, the indigenous people of Biafra, IBOB, and Eastern Security Network, ESN, have maintained that they are after terrorists and not northerners, as earlier alleged by an Islamic cleric, Sheikh Abubakar Gumi. The group disclosed in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Comrade Emma Powerful, and made available to newsmen in Abakaliki. According to Powerful, ESN is a tribe of necessity created for the defense of Biafra's ancestral land against terrorists and killer herdsmen ravaging their community. For that, the rest of that story, you can turn to page 37 of the Nigerian Tribune. Stop twisting facts. We are not after northerners, but terrorists, IBOB tells Gumi. Also, I have 13.5 billion children can't access quality education in Nigeria. A non-governmental organization, NGO, Legal Defense and Assistance Project, LEADER, has said about 13.5 billion children in Nigeria are unable to access free and quality basic education. According to a research conducted by the NGO, girls in the northern east sub-region substitute a larger percentage of the deprived students. The executive programs manager of LEADER, Pamela Okeregwe, said this in Yola, Adamawa capital, on Wednesday at an advocacy campaign on the right to free, compulsory and quality education by all. Okeregwe attributed the number of out-of-school children in the country to insurgency, security challenges, cultural and religious disposition, as well as poor funding. For the rest of that story, turn to page 37 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
And also, Emirates Airlines has confirmed that it will begin accepting Dubai-bound passengers from India, South Africa and Nigeria back to Dubai. And this is released in a statement to our correspondents, which was facilitated by the revision of rules issued by the Supreme Committee of Crisis and Disaster Management in Dubai, which allowed fully vaccinated travelers to return to their homes in the United Arab Emirates. The airline said that effective from Wednesday, June 23, it will resume carrying passengers from India, South Africa and Nigeria. And it added that Emirates welcomes the latest protocols and measures announced by the Dubai Supreme Committee of Crisis and Disaster Management to allow the safe resumption of passenger travel from South Africa, Nigeria and India to Dubai and onwards. And they also look forward to facilitating travel from those countries and supporting various travelers category. And all passengers must take a rapid PCR test 4 hours before flight departure. And all passengers must also undergo a PCR test on arrival at Dubai Airport, the airline added. That story is on page 18 of the Punch newspaper.
And I have court fixes July 21 to air suit seeking Buhari's sack from office. The Federal High Court, sitting in Abuja, has fixed July 21st to hear a suit filed against President Muhammadu Buhari by a former presidential candidate Chief Ambrose Albert Owuru, seeking an order of the court declaring the presidential seat vacant. The date has been communicated to parties in the suit through hearing notices served to them by the court bailiff. The Chief Judge of the court, Justice John Tosho, assigned the case to Justice Inyang Ekwo for hearing and determination. For the rest of that story, turn to page 37 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And moving on to sporting reports this morning, members of the Super Eagles who won the 1994 African Cup of Nations in Tunisia have shared their excitement after the President Major General Muhammadu Buhari gave them 3-bedroom apartments 27 years after their triumph. Buhari, through the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, disclosed this news titled President Buhari Allocates House to 1994 Super Eagles squad winners of the African Cup of Nations. And he said that according to one of them, he said, I am highly grateful and my family is grateful for this. I will prefer a place in Lagos. And that is coming from Sunday Olise. And also Emmanuel Amunike, scorer of the brace and winner in the final against Zambia, thanked Buhari for remembering the retired players. He thanked the president for redeeming this pledge 27 years after it was made. And this was people have been pushing for it from 1994 till now. It is indeed a very long time, and they also commend the government. Looking at all those years, they've been clamoring for the promise before it was now being fulfilled by President Muhammadu Buhari. If only I was there too, I would have asked for a place in Banana Island. If I was part of the
Potato Island. As we draw the curtains on today's newspaper review, I have Sanwo-Olu fulfills government's pledge, donates 3-bedroom flat to 1996 Olympic gold medalist Chioma Ajunwa. The long wait is over for Chioma Ajunwa Opara, the first African woman to win a gold medal in the Olympic Games field event 25 years after. Lagos State Governor Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu redeemed the government's pledge of a house to the athletes. The governor on Thursday presented a key to a 3-bedroom apartment in Babatunde Raji Fashola Housing Estate in Ipori to Ajunwa Opara, who is now an Assistant Commissioner of Police in Lagos Command. Sanwo-Olu made the presentation at a reception held for Lagos State athletes who participated in the recently concluded National Sports Festival in Edo State. Lagos won 125 medals, including 35 gold and 27 silver medals in the contest.
Who will fulfill pledge for me too?
I will pledge to you. That is the most important
I have been pledging to Nigeria, my country, since I was born. And it's so amazing to know that the federal government this time are already fulfilling their promise, giving them houses, even though some are late. People like Rashid Yekene, people like Stephen Keshi, they are no more. But with that, we are alive. I pray that we all live to see the glory of the Lord coming to all of us at our time too. And this is where we draw the curtains on the program newspaper review this morning. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to you joining us again next week for another edition with our other brilliant newscasters as well. I am Taiwo Olaniyo. Thank you for joining and have a lovely weekend.
And my name remains Olukemi Omotosho. Have a wonderful weekend.